guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 290 of the War Machine Mark II from the Avengers Age of Ultron. As you can see down here, it does say that is the diecast series, and essentially what we have is the third repaint of this particular figure. The first being the Iron Patriot, the second being the War Machine Mark II, but those were both under the Iron Man 3 line. As you remember, the actual War Machine was not in it. It was repainted and rebranded as the Iron Patriot, but Hot Toys still re-released the Iron Patriot in the War Machine colors. This is basically the same, but this is far more accurately depicts how the War Machine looked in Age of Ultron. Now for the package, as you can see, like I mentioned, this is part of the diecast series, so this is one of those special boxes that has the hard cardboard down here, and then you got the slip section here that just comes up like so. And then on the inside you have this foam insert that just says War Machine, and it is very, very sturdy. This is that heavy duty foam that nicely protects all of their diecast figures. This section slides out just like so, and with everything falling out, this is the section that holds the figure within. Now getting that back up there. Now one thing that is different is that this does come with a second head sculpt, that being of Rhodey. The original version of the Mark II War Machine did not come with that. So it's nice to see that they included something that we didn't get previously. So setting this kind of off there, and then bringing the main package back in, on the back of it, you can see that it nicely lists the cast and the crew responsible for making this figure. But for the packaging, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get this guy out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the Mark II War Machine opened up and out of its packaging. And right up front, if you're familiar with the War Machine suits, you are instantly going to recognize this. As I said, this is basically the third version of this same mold that we've gotten, and kind of the second in the actual War Machine colors. This particular body style was originally used in the Iron Man 3 version of Iron Patriot, and Hot Toys released a repaint of it in the more classic War Machine colors. And since War Machine is back as War Machine in Avengers Age of Ultron, it just makes sense that they would use that same body and just update the color a little bit more. Now for his accessories, basically you get the exact same thing that the original Mark II War Machine actually came with the addition of one extra piece. So first you can see that I got his articulated hands on him that allow for his fingers to be posed and things of that nature. He also does come with a both right and left fisted hand. Unfortunately though, this is the one that does not have any clear plastic in the repulsor section, so that doesn't really light up. These do, so opening that up so that you can see that a little bit better, you can see that he's got the clear piece of plastic right there that allows for the light up feature. So just putting that right back there to kind of keep him looking cool. So in addition to that, he also does come with a both right and left hand in the repulsor blast sort of pose where it's angled up, but just like that. You can see that his handguard is molded in a way that kind of angles up so that it allows him to look like he's actually blasting and looks like the handguard actually folds up. But real great detail, and again, you got the clear plastic right on there. Just a solid black plastic, but you do have some wear marks on this particular one. It's got a little battle damage and stuff on here. On here, it does say danger, so you do have some nice painted detail. And then much like that original Mark II War Machine, he does have a right hand that is in this kind of saluting pose. He does have the clear plastic piece for his repulsor on there as well. And then again, you got some nice weathering effect put on here. In addition to that, he does come with his left arm little mini cannon thing. I don't even know what you would call it. It's kind of a weird little piece, but it's just a wrist guard that pops up and has a little laser on there that fits on his left arm, as I said. But again, that's a piece that did come with the original Mark II War Machine. The piece that is added on and new, and obviously you can see that he comes with his back cannon, which is the same, but the piece that comes with that is new to the War Machine figure is the sculpt of Don Cheadle as Lieutenant Colonel Rhodey. And there, I'll touch on that here in a second, but that's actually a little bit incorrect. But this is the head sculpt that actually did come with, and coming into it, it's kind of dark, so let me actually zoom in and stay in the light area. This actually did come with the Iron Patriot. It did not come with the War Machine, so it's cool that they actually included this for the actual War Machine finally. You can see that he's got this section right here that is articulated, it folds down. One thing that's really weird though, and I don't know if this is how it was in the original Iron Patriot, but this sits on his head very strange. It's not a very flush sort of sitting, and you can't, I mean, you can kind of get it, I don't know, it's kind of obnoxious. It's not very flat, and it just flips all the way up. I don't really like the way that sits on there, but real great likeness to Don Cheadle right there. Very, very cool looking. This does have two magnetic sections. It's actually got magnets right up here and then right down there as well. So you put that there, and then that actually kind of magnetically locks up there, but real cool look. And again, this did come with the original Iron Patriot, which makes sense because he wore the suit. But again, real great paint detail on there. You got some wear marks on there, not a lot, just very subtle, but overall really a sharp looking piece. Obviously this one does not light up. That one on the actual body will, but that's a great looking head sculpt. I guess you could say that this is a new accessory as well, but it is the Avengers Age of Ultron display stand that all the new Avenger figures come with. This is a little bit different than what we got with the original Mark II War Machine. If you remember, it was the round base that lit up that had the metal pole with the clasp that went around his waist. This here actually is just the standard crotch grab, but you do have the Avengers Age of Ultron logo right there with War Machine. It would have been nice if it actually said Mark II. That would have been cool, but really nice. I do love the way that it looks. You can see a real nice heavy gloss area, and then you got the matte section right there. That's a real cool paint detail on there. I really dig that. Now, obviously, like I said, he does come with his back cannon, but this is the figure, and honestly, there is not much that is different with this guy. It is pretty similar, so doing the comparison right up front, and here is that War Machine Mark II from the Iron Man 3. And again, right up front, the biggest thing that you're noticing is the color difference on here. There really isn't much else that's honestly all that different, but this is a far more accurate representation of how actually War Machine looks. And honestly, color-wise, I think he looks just a little bit more striking with this dark gunmetal gray actual coloring. The light coloring doesn't look bad. I just think this has much more of a powerful kind of War Machine look. Now, some people have talked about how they like actually the red arc reactor on there as opposed to the black one. That is just personal preference, but also when you look here in the eyes, he also has the sockets of his eyes are actually red as well. So coming up to look at that and zooming in, you can see that just the outline of the eyes have that red splash of paint. It doesn't bother me really all that much. It's extra color, I guess. But honestly, the red there just kind of throws it all off. I just think that the new one just has a much cleaner look to it, I think. And then you can see that he also has some extra or different looking painted details, such as FF right there. You got ED there. You got the 002. You got the star logo there. You got a updated star logo there. One thing that I will say though is that sometime through the progression of the films, he went from being a lieutenant colonel to actually a colonel. So while it says Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes here, it probably shouldn't say Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes there. This being the newer version, he's a colonel by this point. At some point, like I said, it changed, so that's something that really is fairly inaccurate, but I guess I can kind of overlook it. But beyond that, like I said, really not much difference in terms of the way that the paint job on this is, other than the coloring. Everything else is pretty much the same. Now, one thing that I will say is that these guys really are, I forgot how difficult they are to balance. There's a lot of die cast in these figures, but the new War Machine does have a much sturdier feel, especially here in the hips. Now, one thing that I will talk about is the way that the hip extension worked here. You had to put your finger in here and pull this whole, well, you're not supposed to pull the leg off, but it's just extends out just like that, kind of wiggling, and I'm not going to waste my time, but you don't have the button there is what I'm basically getting at. So what they decided to do was redesign the body, and again, you have to really fiddle with this guy because he does not want to stand most times. I'm just going to set him down. But what they did was they redesigned this back section here. So these legs are a whole lot more sturdy and they're a lot tighter. And then it also has this button which allows you for the articulation to push this in, and then that swivels down, and then that actually locks into place so that you get that extra, I guess, hip articulation. The Mark II from Iron Man 3 had that as well, but it didn't have the button. So you had to, like I said, put your hand there and then pull it. It's kind of annoying, but that comes back up, locks into place. So that is an improvement, but beyond that, there's nothing really mold-wise that I'm noticing that has been changed from the previously released figure. Taking a look at the rest of his articulation, the head does look up pretty well when it doesn't have the James Rhodes head in there, honestly. For some reason, there's a little bit more leeway. I do wish that they gave us like an extra piece for the neck that allows you to have a little bit higher of a range of motion. You just pull that off, but a little bit higher range of motion to kind of denote a better flying look. That's the best you're going to be able to get it here. So setting that down, the shoulders move in, they move out, they flex forward and back, they rotate at the upper part here. This section here does pivot. It's kind of on a ball joint here, so that does move as you move the shoulders up. The shoulder or the elbows here do have 2 points that allow you to fold it all the way in, so real nice range of motion right there. The hips, getting this out of the way, and you can see the arms go up. I'm sorry, the waist does lift up so that you get a little bit more of a crunch. You've got this little flex piece right here that does bend in so that you can get a little bit more of a squat, sorry, more of an ab crunch, I guess. You can move side to side, bring that back down. It also rotates here at the mid-torso section. These little pieces here do flex up. That was very similar on the original Mark II. That just gets out of the way and allows you to lift the legs further. Like I said, you can then take this hip section, detach this, and now that will, if you get it done right, that will allow you to get an even higher range of motion there. So that ground pound pose is really nicely replicated with the amount of articulation that the figure has. So getting that back up there like so. There we go. He rotates at the upper part of the thigh. You can see that it swivels in and out. He's got 2 bends here at the knee. You can hear the ratchet joints, which add a lot of stability. Very strong joints right there. And then the ankles do flex forward and back. They move in and out. You can extend them out just a little. If I get this out of the way, you can pull them out just a tad. Come on. There we go. That allows you to flex them up a little bit more. So all that articulation that the original piece had is here as well. Honestly, all you're really getting is a slightly more paint job accurate version of the War Machine character. You come around here to the back with his back cannon, and this piece right here again is articulated. Get the figure to stand some. The little swivel right here, you can have it straight up and down like that. This piece rotates so that you can put it there. You can actually bend it, flex it over his shoulder. This piece here will rotate around, and you can fire this any which way you want to. Really great amount of detail on here as well. You got the dangers and the warning logos, all of which are very nicely recreated. You can set it right there. You can bring it there. You got a couple different points. You can attach it here. Anywhere along these little slots, you can actually put it. It doesn't slide along that track, but you can detach it and then reposition it. So anywhere along there, you can put it. I kind of like leaving it there and then bending it just like that. So it's positioned something along that nature. But all in all, like I said, it's a great piece. The inclusion of the head sculpt that allows you to have the James Rhodes head sculpt, it's just a real great reuse of a previous accessory. He still does have all the light up features. I'm not going to go ahead and show that. I haven't put the batteries in, but you do get the set of batteries with the little screwdriver. The arc reactor lights up, his eyes light up, and then his palms also light up. So pretty standard in terms of all that stuff. But like I said, it is a very simple figure. On this piece right here, this detaches if you want, and that's obviously where you would put the batteries and or turn it on and things like that. So putting this right there, let's see, where is it? Lines up right like that. So you do have that again for a display option. So it's all personal preference, really what you want. But when I first saw this figure and contemplated getting it, I was really on the fence because I did like the way that the original Mark II War Machine looked. I just thought that it had a better look, and obviously I think it has a better look than the Iron Patriot. I never thought of the Iron Patriot that was in Iron Man 2 as the real Iron Patriot. So that's why I never got that particular piece. I wanted to get the War Machine armor for it. This is really not much different. So if you do have that original one, you're not going to be getting a heck of a lot of difference. What you are getting is a more accurate representation of how War Machine looks, specifically in the Age Age of Ultron, while still utilizing the same actual body. That's just something that really isn't Hot Toys' fault or anything. That's how the Marvel movie was done. Age of Ultron's version of War Machine is just a repainted version of the Iron Patriot. It's like they thought that was a bad idea, and they even kind of joked about it and made it into a joke in Iron Man 3. So it makes sense that Rhodey would want to go back to just being War Machine. But this is a piece that I do think that some collectors could easily pass on. But for me, it's all about getting the most accurate representation of a character, and that's what this is. So while the original one from Iron Man 3 nicely fit in my display, the Age of Ultron version here is absolutely replacing that guy. But it's all really personal preference. You may like the lighter color, you may like the red around his arc reactor and his eyes. For me, I like all those, but I'm all about the accuracy. So this is a figure that you'd like to pick up. It is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can pick this guy up and add him to your collection today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my website at optibotimusreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like and comment, and be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a future review. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.